Now in its 9th season, it's Prodigy Bowlers Tour, celebrating junior bowling and elevating junior bowlers. Today, episode 179, the 2024 Kansas City Open December Adult Youth Doubles Tournament. 4 teams have qualified for the TV finals, but only one can leave as the Division IV champions. Here are the final 4 doubles teams. Qualifying fourth is 11-year-old Brody Plasky and his mom, Lori. They'll bowl our number 3 qualifiers, Jay Futrell and his son, Johnny, of Lawrence, Kansas. The winners of that opening match will challenge our 2 seeds, Grace Ryder and her adult partner, Nick Robbins. And the winner of that match will bowl for the championship against Lily Fuhr and her dad, Travis, of Plattsburgh, Missouri. They're our tournament leaders. One of these 4 teams will be crowned the Division IV champions at the KCO December Adult Youth Doubles Tournament and will sign the coveted trophy pin on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. You know, this morning when I got up, there were some pretty big snowflakes coming down from the sky, but not much had collected on the ground in Overland Park and Olathe, Kansas. But about an hour later, we were well on our way to about 2 inches of accumulation, and portions of the north side of Kansas City, well, they got upwards of 5 inches of snow. So quite a few of our bowlers and KCO officials had a 2-hour drive to Olathe, Kansas, where we're back once again for the KCO December Adult Youth Doubles Tournament. For the first time, the KCO has expanded this tournament to a second day, with Divisions 4 and 5 going first on Saturday and Divisions 1, 2, and 3 going second on Sunday. This affords the KCO the opportunity to add about 30 additional teams to the tournament. And since the adult partners of these young bowlers don't get scholarship payouts, this is a significant increase in the funds that go into the kitty to pay out to the kids at the KCO season-ending invitational in June. So it's a win-win for everybody. We're here today to bring you the Division IV stepladder finals. Each partner will bowl a complete game, and the team score will be comprised of total pins of the 2 teammates, plus any handicap they have coming. Once again, here's how the stepladder lays out in Division IV. You win your match, and you take a step up the ladder to the next match, and you keep advancing as long as you keep winning. So it's time to get match 1 underway, as our 4th place qualifiers, Brody Plasky and his mom, Lori Gabb, face the number 3 qualifiers, Johnny Futrell and his dad, Jay Futrell. The Futrells will be spotting Brody and his mom quite a few pins, as there's a pretty big average discrepancy. But that's what handicap is for, to give the lower average players a fighting chance. So here we go. The Futrells, being the higher qualifiers, had the choice of starting lanes, and they have elected to finish on the right lane. I think that probably means Jay likes the right lane. Well, it looks like he might like the left lane as well, as he begins with a strike. And now we get our first look at Lori Gabb. Well, she missed the head pin, but broke up what could have been a rather difficult spare and has just the 1-2. Now Johnny Futrell. And that ball hooks a little high, breaks up the split, leaves just the 4-7. And now Lori for her spare. And that one slides by a little bit. Doesn't get quite enough of the 1 pin to take out both of them. So in open frame, you see we've added her handicap into her score right there in the first frame. She had 9 out. with 45 pins of handicap. That's where we arrive at 54 in the first. And Johnny with just enough hook on that one to bring it in for a spare. Now Brody. And a southpaw coming in just a little light. Too light to carry out the 10. We've had a few lefties on the show here recently. Now his mom on the left lane. Right through the nose. Fortunate that she didn't leave a split. Gets 9, leaves the 6. And now Brody going for the 10 pin. And that's well done. Well, Lori's dad figures prominently in how these two got started bowling. She lists her dad as the reason she started bowling. Brody lists his grandfather as the reason he started bowling. I think Lori might have started so that she could bowl with Brody. And her dad probably helped her get started. All right, Jay Futrell. Oh, man, good shot. Deep in the pocket, but a ringing 10. Brody comes in just a little thin that time and sends the head pin in front of the 3. And he's got the sleeper 9 behind it. Now, once again, he goes spare 8, would give him 18 in the first. His 8 pins are added in to give him 26. As Jay makes short work of that 10 pin on the right lane. Because of the continuous action, we won't have time for replays. And Brody sends that one a little too wide. It gets the back pin, but leaves the one in front. You've always got to get the front pin with the ball. So that's an open. Oh. Well, Johnny, I don't know what to tell you about that one. You can't throw it much better. The stone 7. And again, not to beat a dead horse here, but spare 9 would normally be 19 in the first for Johnny, but we've added his 14 pins of handicap into his score, so that gives him 33 in the first. And now all the handicap is accounted for. Oh! Well, that one just hooks by the 7. So, Johnny contributes an open frame in the second. Now, the arrow to the right of the plus 27 at the bottom of the score sheet indicates whose lead that is. The plus 27 belongs to the players on the right side of the score sheet. Jay hits the half pocket and doesn't quite get the 10 to go. Well, I think as Lori learns to bowl, she's only been at it for a couple of years. She will learn that if she can roll that ball off her fingers rather than just tossing it down the lane, she'll get that ball to drive through the pins a little better. As Jay shows us how to go firm and straight at the corner pins. Ooh, Lori just misses the 5. So their lead is shrinking rapidly. It's down to just 15 now. And look at Johnny just drive through the pocket. And that's 10 in the pit. Well, another light hit for Brody. And that only gets 5. And he's left himself a rather difficult cluster. The 3, 5, 6, 9, 10. Got to be careful with this one. Want to put the ball right on the 3 and 5 and let it drive through to get the 9. He crosses over. You can get away with it sometimes. He does this time. But that was close to chopping the 3 off the 5. But he can breathe a sigh of relief now, as that spare maintains his team's 15-pin advantage. Well, Lori is pretty demonstrative. I wish we had a camera in front of the players. You could see her. But she knew that one got away from her. Still, she gets 7. And there is a solid driving ball right through the pocket. Jay Futrell with his second strike. There you go, Lori. That's how you make the 1-3-6. Look out. Oh, man, Johnny was living dangerously out by the edge. Still almost knocked over the 6 and 10. As Brody hits the half pocket, leaves the 5. When he gets a little bigger, that ball will drive through and carry out that middle pin. Good spare for Johnny. What these kids want to do is just stay clean. In other words, cover their spares and let the adults do the heavy lifting. There you go. That's how you show that the 5-pin is no difficult task. Lori's high game, a 248. I'll bet she threw a bunch of balls like that to get it. Brody bowls league with us here at Olathe Lanes East, so I get to coach him up a little bit. Very likable kid. Another ringing 10 for Jay. Well, Brody comes in light again on the head pin, and the ball keeps finishing a little thin. When you're left-handed, you want to move your feet a little to the left. I think Brody could move about a board or two. There's the spare for Jay. So the lead for Brody and his mom, still 11 pins, assuming he can make this spare. And he does. That's a good spare to make, too. That's not the easiest spare to knock over. All right, Johnny, working on a spare. Look out. Yeah, it looked like it slipped off his hand that time. You want to get in the habit of either using a rosin bag or using the blower on the ball return to dry off your hand. And make it a habit. Doesn't matter which way you go, but you want to do one or the other every time. What a great recovery. He goes from a 4 count to a spare. So now Jay up on the right lane working on a spare. Oh man, he wound that one up for sure. It was not going to hit in the half pocket, but it leaves the 4. And there's a 5-pin for Lori. Again, if she got that ball to rev up just a little bit by rolling it off her fingers rather than just tossing it out on the lane, you can almost read the label on the ball as it skids down the lane. You want it getting into a roll quickly. If she can do that, it'll drive through the pins a little better. Easy spare for Jay. He will not break a sweat shooting those. And I'll tell you what, Lori's showing me something this game. They continue to maintain the lead. They've stayed right around 15 to 18 pins for a couple of frames now. That's got to get up. Well, it almost did. He got a piece of the head pin. Gets 9. There you go. Brody makes a slight adjustment. Gets a little more of the head pin. And kind of a mini blower. Johnny, obviously, paying attention to his dad on how to shoot spares. He's only got one open in his first 6 frames. That looked like that was for sure going to rip them apart, but it just kind of gave up when it hit the pocket. Oh dear. It's the 4-6. It's been made once on Prodigy. It's about a 3,000 to 1 shot, I would say. I wouldn't guess that Jay would miss many 10 pins. Well, she gets 9, and that's probably about the most we could have hoped for. But the lead is shrunk to 7. And look at Johnny hit that half pocket and rip the 5. Look out for this kid when he gets older. Actually, I'd say the same thing about Brody. As that ball sails wide and never does get into a roll. A couple of things Brody needs to work on. We've talked about it when I've been coaching him. He needs to move back and generate a little more ball speed. And he needs to learn to stay behind the ball. Get it into a roll a little quicker. And that just doesn't get up. Needed to hit the right side of the head pin, so an open for Brody. And the lead has now passed to the Futrells. They lead by 7 now. But there's plenty of time to get the lead back. Pretty good shot by Lori. Just doesn't have the entry angle to send that 5 over into the 7. Still, she gets 9. A spare would go a long way to keeping them in the match. And there's a solid strike by Jay Futrell. Wait until I tell you about Jay's credentials as a tournament bowler. As Lori's spare attempt slides by. And now Johnny can extend his team's lead to 28 with another strike. Oh, but no. Well, the good news for the Futrells is Johnny was working on a strike, so he hasn't lost any pins in count. There's a high hit for Brody. Lucky he didn't leave a split. The 10 went out late. But now he's got a spare that has kind of been a pesky one for him, the 7-pin. Johnny almost got a spare out of that. Brody turns away before the ball got 2/3 of the way down the lane. He knew it was right of the target. We talked a little bit about his 7-pin shooting in our last time together at League. He's promised me he's going to practice his 7 pins. Well, that's one way to avoid having to shoot them. Just don't leave them. I think Lori's got the right idea with that shot. But now Jay can put him in a world of hurt with a double here. But instead, his toss slides by and leaves a tricky little cluster. Get up. Just didn't quite make it to the pocket. So Brody, with a challenge of his own, double wood, the 3-9, that sleeper back in the back. Always a pesky challenge. That's how you take care of double wood. You hook the ball at it so that the ball can drive through and get that back pin. That's what Brody's going to try to do here. But you can't hook past the center of the front pin, or you'll send the front pin to the left. In his case, Johnny trying to bounce back from that open. Does with a solid strike. So here we go. Lori has a strike working in the 9th frame, so she can cut the Futrell's lead to 18 if she can catch a strike here on the first ball in the 10th. But you could tell she knew it was left of target, right off her hand. But now if she can make this spare, they'll still be in it. You don't know what your opponent is going to do. Although you can be pretty sure Jay is going to keep it in play. All right, good spare. So that gives Lori 177 in the 9th. With a spare up, she can shoot 197. Jay still with a possible 207. And he trips the 4 to keep that number alive. Lori finishes with a solid 9 count for a 196. But she's going to come up about 10, maybe 11 pins shy of Jay, which means Brody will have to beat Johnny by that amount or more. That's going to be a heavy lift. He's going to need to double here to have much of any chance at all. Pulled it through the nose and leaves the baby split. And I think it is going to be a tough finish for Brody. He was so nervous when this match started. I mean, he was shaking like a leaf. It's 7 out for Jay. He changed to a different ball. He wanted to see if he could get a different look for the next match. Pretty good try for Brody on the baby split, but Jay and Johnny have won this match, and they're going to be moving on to face Nick Robbins and Grace Ryder. But Johnny playing up the right side of the lane It's pretty dry out there where he's letting it go. When you play the ball, well, down either side of the lane, really, outside of about the 10th board, when you're bowling on the house shot like these kids are, these people are, they're not all kids, of course. The outside of the lane is pretty dry, and so the ball tends to hook as soon as it hits the floor. You move a little bit inside, in Johnny's case, move a little to the left, a few boards left. Lay that ball down in the oil, let it float out to the dry, and it'll come right back. And maybe end up right about there. That'd be a good spot. But it is Jay and Johnny Futrell who take match 1 by 47 pins. And now they may have their hands full with this pair, Nick Robbins and Grace Ryder, both former winners at the KCO.
Man, it doesn't show signs of stopping, and I brought me some corn for popping. The lights are turned way down low. Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow.
You got to give it up to Brody Plasky and his mom, Lori Gabb, for hanging in there and fighting valiantly against Jay and Johnny Futrell, who had a pretty obvious advantage in average. Brody and Lori led all the way until the 8th frame, but Brody finished with 4 open frames, and with the final margin of victory being 47 pins, well, you can plainly see the importance of spares. But Brody is just starting out, and I'm sure he won't be as nervous the next time he makes a stepladder. But Johnny Futrell and his dad Jay take our opening match, and now they're on to match 2 to face Grace Ryder and her adult partner Nick Robbins. The last time we saw Nick on Prodigy, he was still a youth bowler contending for a KCO title. And the first time we met Grace, she was on our very first episode of Prodigy in the 2022-23 season when we began covering the KCO. She won all 4 matches that day to claim the first KCO handicap title we ever covered on Prodigy Bowlers Tour, and she's gotten a whole lot better since. Even with Jay Futrell bowling his best, if Nick can bowl the way I know he's capable, this could be a very competitive match. Now, Nick Robbins may look familiar to you. That's because he was a junior bowler last year. He's bowling as the adult partner today, but he's a regular at the KCO from years past. Jay changing balls, going to that ball that he tested out on his fill ball in the last game. I think he likes what it's doing. It's finishing a little harder than that other ball he was using that left him with a bunch of single pin spares. But as you can see, Nick can match him almost strike for strike. He throws plenty of ball. All right, Johnny. It actually looks like he did move in a board or 2. And that was a great shot. He did not get rewarded, though. Stone 7. All right, Grace Ryder. And she starts with a strike. She has really improved since we first saw her on the very first handicap show we did at the KCO in September of 2022. Good spare by Johnny. Grace won that day in 2022 on our September show, winning all 4 matches in the Division 5 stepladder. And she had one of the most memorable moments ever on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. I'll tell you about it here in a minute. As Jay Futrell goes for a double up on the right lane. Oh yeah, that ball's got a much better reaction than the ball he was using most of that last match. All right, Nick, up on the left lane. He can make those pins dance. And now Johnny. See what he can add on to that spare that he got in the first frame. Looked like he pulled it. Goes through the nose. Gets 9, though. Grace Ryder that day here in Olathe did something that we'd never seen before on Prodigy Bowlers Tour, that if you watch youth leagues, I'm sure you've seen before. She comes up thin here, leaving the 2-8. Now Johnny going for his spare, the 6-pin, and he takes it out easily. Grace said on her questionnaire today her best moment in bowling is something that happened on Prodigy on that show in 2022. We'll watch it here. Grace can claim this match with one more roll of the ball. Oh, look out. Well, I know that's got to be a little embarrassing for her, but no harm, no foul. Then after she takes a moment to collect herself, she throws this shot. Look at this. That would have been so easy for her to be embarrassed and just kind of lose it right there, but no. She just shakes it off, dusts herself off, gets up there, trips the 4-pin, and strikes like a boss. And that shot shuts out Lillian and wins the match. I talked to her about it on the day we taped this episode of Prodigy. She said the reason why that's her favorite moment in bowling is because it sends a signal to everybody not to give up and to allow any bit of bad fortune to derail your determination. I think that's a pretty good message for everybody. Although she gets an open in the second, so she's going to count on Nick to pick her up here. Through the nose, leaves the 6. Could have been worse. But now Jay, working on a double, can extend his team's lead. But no, he sends it a little too wide. It doesn't quite get back, and he's got the 7-pin. Nick makes short work of the 6. Of course, as I mentioned at the beginning of the last match, we add all the handicap pins into the player's score in the very first frame, so you don't have to be doing addition in your head while you watch. There's a spare for Jay. And now Johnny Futrell working on a spare. They lead by 2. Oh, man. Living on the edge. But he nearly gets a strike. There's another stone 7. We've seen a few of those. And there's a solid 10-pin by Grace. She has really improved her game. She's gotten rid of that little hop in the middle of her approach, and she's gone to wearing this wrist support. It's really helping her release. Johnny slides by the 7-pin, so there's an open frame that hands the lead back to Nick and Grace. As Grace covers the 10. So all the handicap pins have been spent. If Nick and Grace are to win this match, they're going to have to do it on their own. And Nick just threw that one a little too hard. Threw it right through the break. Leaves the 8. Could have been the 2-8, which would have been a little more challenging. That is a great shot right there. It takes him a while to get to the foul line, but that's because he takes 7 steps. Nick with a spare. And now Johnny up on the right trying to bounce back from that open. Oh man, he fell a little off balance at the foul line. I had not seen him do that prior to that shot, and now he's left himself a very difficult split, the 4-10. Got to put the ball over on the left side of the 4, slide it all the way across the lane to get the 10. And Grace slides by the head pin and leaves the washout. Oh man, Johnny with a great attempt at the 4-10, just missed it. I mean, I bet he didn't miss it by an inch. But an open frame, and that gives Nick and Grace a 17-pin lead. And Grace's ball just doesn't quite get up. Needed to get over on the left side of the head pin to throw it over into the 10. It did not, so their lead is now down to 6. As both of the adults are up on their respective lanes. Well, that could have been a messenger strike, but coulda, woulda, shoulda. Ain't gonna get it. That is a 9 count. He's gonna have to shoot that corner pin. Man, Jay just ripped him apart with that one. He gives it that big flip at the bottom, and the light hit will usually go when you're coming from that angle. All right, Nick for the 10. Oh my, and he whiffs it. And that's not what he had in mind. So the few trails with a 16-pin lead. Johnny goes through the nose, nearly left the 6-7-10, but turns out to be a 9 count and a wiggle. 9 and a wiggle. He shouldn't have any problem with the 6-pin, I wouldn't think. Oh, can't throw it over there. All right, an errant throw. I think that'll be scored an error. So Grace trying to recover from that open in the 4th. And you can't plant it any deeper in the pocket than that. Coming in from a good angle as well. They were bound to go down. Just 5 pins separating these two teams. I think Nick was extra determined on that shot. He caught all of it at the bottom of the swing. Well, that was just a freight train there. pins had no chance. The only thing he could possibly have left on that shot would have been a trail of tears. All right, Johnny, set your feet and let her rip. Pulled it. Left of target. Through the nose leaves the 3-6. Oh, that was a pretty good shot there by Grace. It just jumped a hair at the very end. Fractionally high, and she leaves a fairly easy spare, the 4-pin. Oh, and Johnny just a little wide with that toss. I thought it would come back, but it didn't. So an open frame keeps this match close. And Grace hooks by the 4-pin, a routine spare. Not so routine this time. So it's a 16-pin lead for Jay and Johnny Futrell. See if Nick can maintain his focus and get a double here. Wow. I could almost feel the wind as the ball flew by. That was an amazing strike. But in the end, it's not how good they look, it's how many of them you can get. And right now, Jay Futrell leads in the strike derby 6-4 over Nick. But the match is still close, 16 pins. Johnny jumps in the fray and adds one of his own. And Grace just a little thin with that hit. It looked to me like she pulled the shot a little left of her target at the arrows. And on the house shot, that means you're in the oil. It's going to skid farther before it tries to read the back end. And it just never got into the roll that you'd want it to be in. So, she leaves one. Ooh! The ring and 10, and then the messenger refuses to get involved. So, he'll shoot another 10-pin. See, she threw that one farther to the right, and it finished farther to the left because there's some friction out there on the right side of the lane that she didn't use to her advantage on the first ball. All right, Nick just missed one of these 10 pins. He's got to block that out. There you go. That's how it's done. All right. Jay working on a 4-bagger. Can extend his team's lead to 27 here with a strike. Well, he just doesn't even look like he's breaking a sweat out there. Seems to come pretty easy to him. That's a better shot. Oh, man. It just went a little too long before it started hooking. Now she's left herself a difficult split, a 2-4-8-10. Johnny out there on the edge once again, and you see the friction that far out. It'll bring the ball back if it doesn't go in the gutter. And he goes through the nose. Leaves the 3-6-10. All right, Grace for the split. Oh, this has a chance. Oh, how about that one? We don't get that one converted very often on Prodigy. Oh, and Johnny with chop suey. And that will keep the match close. Grace's conversion helped keep them in it, and then Johnny with that open gave him a little extra boost. But now, can Jay keep striking? He's got a possible 279. Crunch. The lead is 27 now. And Nick, you're just going to have to go strike for strike with him here in the closing frames. Challenge accepted. He'd sure like to have that first ball in the 8th over. Oh, Johnny with another split. Oh dear, oh dear. He almost made the 410 earlier. So I think he knows exactly where to stand and where to throw it. Grace gets it to cross over. Give her a strike. It's not how, it's how many. Oh, he's going boldly for it again. Oh, and he almost made it again. Oh, my goodness. That's 2 tries at the 410, and both times he just barely ran by the 4-pin. I think that one was closer than the first one.
Lane for Mitchell.
That puts Jay in the 260s. Nick, it's go time. This double would be big. How about it? The bowlers you see to our right in the periphery, that is Division 5 and their stepladder finals. And when we get to the end of the show, we will recap how their stepladder played out. But right now, we're down to the end here in match 2, and we've got a tight one. Wow, there is another strike by Jay Futrell, and that's 10 of them this game, and he is in the 270s. Nick with another strike. He's going to finish in the 240s, so it's going to come down to the youth bowlers on these teams to decide it. 9 out, that is a 278. Thank you very much. And that's the high game we have had bowled on Prodigy Bowlers Tour this season. Well, the fast 8 on his fill ball. So a 246. Pretty juicy. All right, Johnny. Well, he leaves a bit of a cluster here. A 245. Certainly there are many ways to miss this. Grace with a strike up. Boy, she could use a strike here. Oh, and she gets one. And now this match is down to just 6 pins. Johnny almost has to mark here. And he makes it happen. What a clutch spare. So it all comes down to this shot, I guess, for Grace. She must strike. If she does, she'll deliver a win for her team. But the Brooklyn will not take out the 9. And it's all going to come down to what Johnny can do on this ball. He needs 4 pins to shut out Grace and Nick. And that will do it. Johnny delivers the shutout ball. Grace, don't feel too bad about that one. It wouldn't have helped even if you'd have made it. If you'd have gotten that strike in the 10th, the second one, that would have been a difference maker, but it's the Futrells who have won the first 2 matches today on Prodigy Bowlers Tour, and they are now into the championship match where they'll face our tournament leaders, Travis and Lillian Fuhr, for the title. Here's a quick look at how we got to where we are, starting with the 4-game qualifying round. Of course, you know who made the top 4 for the stepladder finals, with Travis and Lily Fure leading the way. Logan Crosswhite and his adult partner Christopher Phillips came up 6 pins short of a roll-off for the final spot in the stepladder. There are alternates. You see Ethan Deal, who made a strong bid in his final KCO Invitational last June. He's aged out now, as he was bowling with his younger sister today. In 8th, you see Mark Morris Jr., who was the victim of little Kanan Duncan, all 3'8" of him in our season opener. There in 9th place is the other Fure twin, Bailey, with the girl's mom, Kimberly. And in 11th, Brianna Wanina, who you met last season on Prodigy, bowling with the mom of 2 other twins in the KCO field today, Annalise and Hadley Keeler. And here you see where we stand right now following the opening 2 matches of our stepladder finals, as the Futrells survived a close second match, as Grace Ryder had ball in hand with a chance to close out the match, but couldn't quite get them all to fall. So Jay Futrell breathes a sigh of relief, as it would have been a shame to throw a 278 and find that it wasn't enough. But not to worry, as it was his son, Johnny Futrell, who came to his dad's rescue and threw the shutout ball, a clutch spare in the 10th and the necessary count on the fill ball to send him and his dad into the championship match. So Jay and Johnny now face our tournament leaders, Lily Fure and her dad, Travis, who's making his first appearance on Prodigy. You've seen Lily on the show several times now, but she is still looking for her first tournament win. She's kept getting better and better since we first met her 2 years ago on Prodigy, and maybe today will be her day. But the Fures will have to get past a red-hot Jay Futrell and his scrappy little son Johnny if they want to sign the coveted trophy pin. Now, just to give you an idea of what they're up against, Jay Futrell has won the USBC Nationals team competition, and that same year he won the all events. He's won PBA regionals. Back in the 90s, he won a slew of youth tournaments. This guy, as you have already seen, can bowl his butt off. Comes in a little high with the opening toss. And Travis, might as well get that out of the way early, buddy. If you're going to throw one, you don't want it to be the last ball if you need it. He didn't lose any count. Wasn't working on a spare. I know that's unnerving, though. You never like to start like that. But get the cobwebs out. Boy, Jay takes the scenic route at the 4-pin, but he spares. And there's a much better ball by Travis, but he leaves one. So you see we've added his 65 pins of handicap into his score. 9 out in the first plus 65 gives him 74. Johnny plants one in the pocket, but the 10 won't go. Now you see Lily Fure. Through the nose, could have been worse. Breaks up the split. Leaves just the 6-10. Johnny's got the 10 pin on the right lane. And covers it. Oh, Lily just gets not enough of the 6-pin. Sends it in front of the 10. So a couple of opens for Family Fure in frame 1. But they still hold a 46-pin lead. Now, can they hold it for 9 more frames? We're about to find out. Jay brings that thing back like it's a yo-yo on a string. There's a strike in the second. Travis rips the rack. just to let Jay know that he can throw strikes too. Now Johnny up on the left lane. Oh no, he sends that one into the moat. Lily once again leaving the 6-10. You keep leaving it until you can make it. Now Johnny, because he was working on a spare, he loses 10 pins in count. So he gets just 10 in the first frame, plus his 14 pins of handicap. That's how we arrive at 24. And that's how you bounce back from a gutter ball on your first ball in the frame. Oh, Lillian almost did the same thing again on the 6-10, but this time she gets them both to go. So that'll save them a few pins. Every open you can convert to a spare will save you about 10 or 11 pins. Well, Jay leaves the 10. And Travis crosses over. And that is our first double of this match. So he grows the Feuer lead back to 66 pins with that double. Love his technique, going at those right side spares, just hard and straight. Lily hooks high. This time the 6-10 has company with the 3-pin. Johnny with a pretty good shot there. Just a little high. And Lily with a good conversion of a tricky spare, the 3-6-10. As I mentioned, she's been on the show a number of times. The first time we saw her was in that match that you saw a portion of with Grace Ryder when she dropped the ball in her backswing. Lily was the player she was up against in that match. Look out. Almost hooked by it, but Johnny converts the 4-pin. Lily has also been on the show a time or two on these adult youth doubles tournaments. She's going to pick one off one of these days. It might be today. There you go. There's a good strike. Kicking out that corner pin. Yeah, that was close to a good shot there. But Travis just sent it a little too wide, and it just didn't quite make it back. Similar problem there for Johnny. It just didn't quite get up. Looked like he pulled it a little left of where he meant to throw it. And it just sort of set in the oil. Boy, there's a good conversion of a spare that's easy to let get away. The lead still 62. Oh my goodness. Johnny just slides by the 2-pin as Lily just determined to keep throwing it on the nose. And she has left once again the 3-6. She's gone 6-10, 6-10, 3-6-10, and now the 3-6. Every one of those on the nose. She needs to move her feet a little left. Maybe move her mark at the arrows a little left. Oh, and she chops the 3 off the 6. Hate to see that. But it's still a pretty big lead for the Fewers. And Travis, he has been a striking machine today, all day. You don't get to the tournament leader position if you don't live in the pocket. Wow. That is as well thrown as you can see a bowling ball thrown. Well, Lily a little wide with that one, and you saw her fall off balance at the line. You want to get rock solid at the foul line so you're not out of balance. Good pocket hit by Johnny Futrell. Just not throwing enough weight, really, to snap out those corner pins. He'll do it eventually. Boy, there's a good shot by Lily. Great recovery after that gutter ball on the first ball. There's a solid spare. And Johnny just barely misses the 10 pin. He's not happy about it. You know, when you see these young kids, Johnny's just 11. When you see them that age have that kind of competitive streak in them, you know they're getting coached up by the parents. I'll tell you what, if Johnny learns to throw it like his dad, he's going to be a heck of a bowler. Travis, a high hit this time. There's the family's favorite spare, the 610. And Johnny plants one. That'll turn his frown into more of a smile rather quickly. Oh, another chop. Oh, those just hurt. You think you've thrown it well, you think it's going to be there, and then it just hooks a little, just enough to clip the front pin and take it right off the one behind it. Look at Lily go. She goes gutter ball, spare, strike. It feels like a double. Unfortunately, it scores like a spare and a strike. Their lead is now down to just 39 pins with 4 frames left to play. And I think that Jay has once again got lined up on this pair of lanes. Oh my. Now that is just not the spare you want to have to make. The 1, 3, 6, 8, 10. Johnny lets that one go a little wide, but it comes back. And he gets a double. And a well-timed one at that. This spare, you really want to shoot it from the left side of the lane, either straight ball or a backup. Not like that. It would have been a tough one to make regardless with the hook he throws. But now Lily with a strike up. She can extend the team's lead, which is currently down to just 4 pins. Now she finds the pocket. Threw a good one. Leaves a ringing 10. And now she needs to make this to maintain that lead. as the Futrells look to be heating up here at just the right time for them. Oh, she goes with the backup. And just, it hooks too much, too early. That's an open frame, and now the lead passes over to Team Futrell. And both of the Fewers are coming off opens, while the Futrells both have a double up. There's a Brooklyn. You don't care how you can get them, just get them. Boy, he just winds it up in the backswing and then just lets it release. That was close. That was really close. Just a little high. Nearly had a split, broke it up. Now has the 4-7. Johnny working on a double. And he fails to get up to the head pin and leaves the washout. There's a spare for Lily. And don't go away. I don't think this match is quite over. An open frame here by Johnny. And there's no telling what might happen after that. See if he can make this. Oh, this is going to be... Yeah, I thought it was going to be close. It didn't hook on the back half of the lane, so it is close. We have a one-pin match. The Futrells lead by a single pin, but Jay up on the right lane in the 9th frame, working on a double. And that ball doesn't quite get up, and so we have an even match now. Travis just doesn't get that one to finish quite enough, but he wasn't working on a spare, so he doesn't lose any count. If he can make this, we'll still be even. There's a spare for Jay. Oh, we might come down to the kids once again. That's why the KCO requires the kids to bowl the anchor position in these adult-youth doubles stepladder matches. Now that one runs by the head pin, and he leaves the 1-2-8. Lily with a pretty good shot there. That didn't quite get up, but boy, it was close. But now she's got a treacherous little spare here, the 2-8. And that's how you make the 2-8. Put it right on the 2-pin, just like Johnny did with the 1 added in. Oh, it didn't finish. It looked like it was going to hook, and then it just decided to quit climbing to the left. So there's an open frame. So once again, the Futrells in the driver's seat heading into the 10th frame. They lead by 14, both of them with a mark up. Boy, Travis really could have used a double here in the 10th, but he's still going to have a good game. Make this spare, finish in the 230s, and who knows what the kids will do. Jay Futrell, you pretty much know what he's going to do. He's going to put it in the pocket. And whether or not he carries, well, that's bowling there. All right. Travis with a spare.
Welcome back, Saturday EOW.
Possible 233 if he can strike on the fill ball.
Striker is Jack is at
Jay with a possible 249.
Ladies is $185. Only 50 cents enter up here at the front counter. Bowlers of the week for the men's.
Well, he's in the 240s.
783, 10 pounds, 751. For the ladies, Caitlin Lacey, 709. Emily Stamper, 675.
Just a 7 count to finish. That's going to be a 230 for Travis. And that's a good game. Whether or not it's enough, well, I guess we're about to find out. Jay for a possible 249.
Here tonight, so we will run it the next time they come back with you guys.
And that's what it is, 249. So Lily pretty much must strike.
Good luck, good bowling.
But she leaves a couple. That's an 8 count. So the best she can hope for is 164. That would give the fewer team 394. Johnny can win on this toss. And I believe that'll do it. And Team Futrell has won all 3 matches and climbed the ladder. Lily put up a strong effort. She's going to come up short with a 2nd place finish. That's still her best to date in the KCO. So she deserves congratulations for her best finish. But it's Jay and Johnny Futrell who are going to be signing the coveted trophy pin. Johnny covers the 2-7. Lily finishes with a 6 count. That's going to give them 390. And Jay and Johnny are already past that number. Possible 171 with a strike here on the fill ball for Johnny Futrell. You've seen his older brother on Prodigy before, but Johnny gets to the winner's circle first, and he's pretty happy about it, I'd say. That is a 420 to 390 final score in our championship match. It's Jay and Johnny Futrell who are the winners in Division 4 here at the December Adult Youth Doubles Tournament at the KCO in Olathe. You will meet our 2 champions when we return after this.
Help! Get me out of here! It's cold in here! It's snowing! Help! I'm freezing my teeth in here!
Well, I think it's safe to say that Lily Fuhrer and her dad Travis gave Team Futrell a bit of a scare in that final match. But in the end, the Futrells did what they'd done in the first 2 matches. They were like the tide that just kept rolling in. And by the time the final pinfall was totaled, they came out on top. But congratulations to Lily Fuhrer on a strong 2nd place finish. She keeps inching closer to a win on Prodigy, and I'm sure her day is coming. But on this day, it's Johnny and Jay Futrell who finished what they started in match 1, and now you get to meet our winners and watch them sign the coveted trophy pin.
Well, looky here, we have a new winner on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. It's Johnny Futrell and his high-scoring dad, Jay. You know what I'd say? I'd say you did a pretty good job of carrying your old man today. Actually, I'd say you picked the right partner today. He bowled fantastic, and so did you.
Yeah.
So how did you do it?
Well, I just listened to what my parents were telling me about how to do stuff.
So you stuck to what your dad said.
Yep.
That's something I never hear. It's rare. So I'd say you've You've been on a bowling lane before.
A few times.
A few times. So, how does this stack up to some of your other successes?
It actually ranks up there pretty high just because it's with my son.
That's what I
It's
figured.
always going to be in a memory bank for sure. It's always going to be there.
Well, and you'll have it on video because it'll be on Prodigy Bowlers Tour forever. So here's the deal, Johnny. Because you won on Prodigy Bowlers Tour, you get to sign your name to the coveted trophy pin. So stick your name on there somewhere, anywhere is fine. And be sure and put the date today. It's November 30th, all right?
Yep.
And this also means that you are now in the field for the season-ending Prodigy Bowlers Tour Tournament of Champions. There'll be a handicap division and a scratch division. And the winner of each will then bowl a match
November 30th,
11:30.
11:30.
Okay.
The winner of the handicap division will meet the winner of the scratch division in a handicap match for the coveted trophy pin. And that'll be in June. The week after Father's Day is usually when we book
Is
it.
that during the invitation?
No, it's 2 weeks after. It's a week after Father's Day.
So it's after the invitation.
Correct. Separate event.
Cool.
The KCO puts on the invitational. I put this on.
Nice.
So just so you know, there'll be about 5,000 or 6,000 people watching you bowl the first week the show goes up as his eyes pop out of his head. And the longer the video stays up, there'll be thousands more that watch you all over the country. Congratulations, young man. Is this like your best moment on the bowling lanes? Probably. It won't be the last. I was impressed by you. You bowled really well today. You were fearless out there.
Compared to last time.
Well, your brother's been on the show before, but I don't think he's won.
Nope.
So you can hold this over him.
Yeah, I told him that already.
Well, that's awesome. Congratulations and happy holidays to both of you.
Thank you. You too.
As I mentioned earlier, the bowlers in the periphery to our right were the Division 5 finalists, and here's how their stepladder played out. In the opening match, the number 4 qualifiers, Dwight Criswell and his adult partner, Fred Gordon Sr., defeated the 3 seeds, Shelton Dukes and his adult partner, Edward Collins Jr., 399 to 314. In the semifinal match, Dwight and Fred continued their winning ways, defeating Henry Montague and his adult partner, Katie Montague, 396 to 308. That set up the championship showdown against the tournament leaders, Shane Schonifer and his dad, Randy Schonifer. And it was Team Schonifer that prevailed, 407 to 336. So Shane and Randy made another trip to the winner's circle. Of course, as I mentioned earlier, this KCO Adult Youth Doubles event was the first one to be expanded to 2 days. The day after we taped this episode of Prodigy, Divisions 1, 2, and 3 gathered for their competition. That'll be seen on our next episode of Prodigy Bowlers Tour, episode 180, when we'll bring you the championship round in Division 1. There's one more adult youth doubles tournament on the KCO calendar this season. That's in March at Aaron's Family Fun Center in Belton, Missouri. If you'd like to bowl in an upcoming KCO, visit their website at www.kansascityopen.com, where you can find everything you need to know to enter. If you enjoyed this video, leave a thumbs up. Smash the subscribe button and ring that notification bell to receive notifications whenever we post new content. Leave a comment down below. All we ask is that you refrain from posting spoilers, remarks that give away what happens on the show. All those things help us to grow the channel, and they don't cost you a single penny. Now, if you'd like to support the creative work that goes into producing Prodigy Bowlers Tour, there's an easy way for you to do that. Become a Prodigy patron. For as little as $5 a month, you'll get early access to all our full-length episodes of Prodigy. And for just $10 a month, you get early access and you get your name listed in the show's closing credits as an executive producer. You know, like the big shots in Hollywood do in motion pictures. Point your web browser to www.patreon.com/Prodigy Bowlers Tour and follow the instructions to become a patron. To keep up with all things Prodigy year-round, join our Facebook group, where you get behind-the-scenes nuggets of information, and we have some fun there too. From any page on Facebook, type Prodigy Bowlers Tour into the search bar and hit enter. That'll take you to a page where you can submit your request to join the group. But remember, you must answer the 3 screening questions, or we'll assume your request is coming from a spam bot and we'll decline the request. The questions are easy. There's no right and wrong answers. They're just intended to screen out bots and people who don't even know what the group is. We have kids who read the group, and these questions are intended to help protect them. So please, when you're submitting your request to join the group, take the few extra seconds to answer the screening questions you're presented with, and your request will be approved. Well, that's a wrap for this edition of Prodigy Bowlers Tour. On our next installment, we'll be back with episode 180, the Division I finals from the KCO December Adult Youth Doubles Tournament. Until then, this is Coach Randy reminding you to stay behind the foul line, keep kicking out the corner pins, not the foul lights and ball returns. And I'll talk to you again next time, right here on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Look for that episode to drop in about a week. Now, go get your bowl on.